My name's Max Osborne. I'm the founder of ThisThat. My role, as perhaps a lot of founders can relate to, is ever evolving. I think it goes through multiple different seasons. Every 6 months, you kind of have to tap in and out of either being more operational or more thinking. And at the beginning, I was the sole engineer, then managed to replace myself from that, then was the sole person doing services, replaced myself from that, then wanted to scale the business, also was doing sales, but then as I was doing that, finance and ops became very difficult. Now I'm in a fortunate position where for the first time, the last 6 months or so, I actually have breathing room to think about the next 5 years. And it's within that finding the right balance of when do I step in and help and 10x and allocate resources or remove blockers, and when do I think to be more strategic and more clear in how I articulate where we have to go.
How was ThisThat born? What was the gap in the market that you wanted to fill?
It definitely was not, this is the gap we want to fill and this is what we're going to do. It's in fact led to an unfair advantage. So I'm very glad it happened this way. ThisThat, as the world knows, now has only really existed for 2, coming on 3 years, but ThisThat's actually existed for coming on to 7 years now. We've had 3 different businesses in that time frame. At the very beginning, we were in fact a social media platform. The name ThisThat comes from a Tinder swiping environment. We swipe left for this, you swipe right for that. People would use it to decide what photos to upload to Instagram, who would win in a boxing match or a football game. And it became very popular. In the first 2 years, we managed to have a couple 100,000 people using the app. We thought we were going to be the next big social media platform. It was a very exciting time. And then Instagram launched Instagram polls, and we realized that we were just a feature. So that didn't really work out. Before we go into the second business, we did a few things that are actually quite interesting and very much gave us loads of learnings to help us position what we do now. First one is we made this terrible yet great decision to partner with a cryptocurrency. So we then paid our users, as community that we had on the social media platform, crypto, to answer and ask questions. Usage went up. We thought that was great. We were excited to use that and go to investors and make a case to fundraise big and make it even bigger. But actually, in fact, the experience dropped dramatically. We could no longer predict how people would engage in surveys. We would look at how people might engage in a survey and encourage people to see surveys that would distill and inspire debate. That would drive engagement, and it would sort of bring different echo chambers together, and it was very fascinating for our platform. Paying people crypto meant we could no longer do that. Seeing that made me think, whoa, hold on a minute. Is all of market research fundamentally flawed? Is it fraudulent? Like, what is this? Is it a big scam? We're paying people to take part in surveys via panels. Back of that, we then built a web app version of the survey interface, ran a couple of ads on Instagram that went to ThisThat surveys versus SurveyMonkey surveys and Typeform surveys. The completion rates for SurveyMonkey were around 3%, Typeform 5%, for ThisThat 70%. That was the first time we experienced a magnitude of 10x, and that is what you're looking for when you are starting a business. And we use that to make a case of let's become the next SurveyMonkey platform. And so off the back of that, got some funding, used that to build a SaaS interface. But a really cool product, but no use case. So all we were really offering was, do you want to be able to collect data via social? Because we can run ads and collect data at scale that way. And it wasn't until 2021, 2022, Christmas time, that we came across the influencer marketing world that were demanding the ability to prove the impact that influencers have. And that's when we came across brand lift. And that's when we finally found a use case for the capabilities that we had built. And so that's very much how ThisThat came about, is through the ever-evolving nature of just building and evolving constantly.
Why is measuring brand uplift so important in influencer marketing?
The quick answer and the easy one is that it's comparable. So, influence marketing has been going through a whole rise. Last year it became mainstream. It's now really competing with other channels in the marketing landscape. And within that, you want to be able to prove to brands the value of influencer when trying to pitch budget away from TV or away from social or other channels. Brand lift is a metric that's used across all different channels. So it gives you a comparable metric. The longer answer is that you can do a lot more than that. Brand uplift alone isn't really that interesting. The beauty of brand lift is that the way in which you collect that data is you're asking people questions. You've got a survey. You've got an opportunity to answer any question that you might want to prove the success of your campaign. And if you get those people to be inspired to answer 15 or so questions, you're actually able to get full funnel attribution. And within that, you can prove the brilliance of influencer marketing. They drive relevancy, which gets them to go through that journey to purchase or a journey to advocacy. So at ThisThat, we don't just want to do brand lift. We want to do brand lift right. We want to do it better and enable the industry to really evolve, not just prove its success, but improve it too.
So what was your career path prior to founding ThisThat? And how did your experiences shape the approach to building the company?
I love this question. When you sent it through, I was really thinking about it because there are two different lenses in which I could go about this. From coming out of university, I did an undergrad in mathematics, postgrad in data science. I had strong foundations in those skills, but was stepping very much into the unknown when it came to building a business. As you heard earlier, the ever-evolving nature. I was capable of building really cool products, but didn't really understand the need of that within the markets. And when you're looking to find product market fit, you very much want to go the other way around. So within that, something that has been shaped in the process of building ThisThat, I've learned that if you step into the unknown with an open mind and you evolve and learn quick and you build momentum and go and move quick, you can actually pick up enough significant pace to then build a team around that and really take that far. So that shaped that. But the other one is I actually started working when I was 12 years old. And I learned from a young age that you just have to make it work. And that very much is the mentality that's needed when going into the unknown. I had a very fortunate childhood, but then things sort of flipped on its head and we didn't have any money. And so I had to help contribute. Age 12 was working in an antique shop. Age 13 managed to be more effective with how I was able to get money to help the house. I convinced a snowboard school to let me be a snowboard instructor. And that way, age 13, was able to make 500 euros on a weekend, which allowed me to actually contribute towards rent. By the time I was 17, I'd skipped 2 years at school and I ran a door-to-door sales company with 50 people. I think it's just a mentality that I was forced into from a young age that gave grit to just make anything happen.
And who have been your biggest influences or mentors throughout your career, and what have you learned from them?
This one touches close to home. It's my dad. I feel very lucky to have had my dad for better and for worse. He showed me what you can do and what the world can give you, and also showed me how quickly it can be taken away from you. And I think when you look at life through opportunity and jeopardy, you think you can do anything, and you also make sure you do what needs to be done. So he joined a company when I was about 4 years old. He was the first marketing director, the 5th employee at a company called Yahoo. Which was a very exciting time. He helped grow their operations in the US. He launched their European office. That then led to a great career for him. He pioneered Wi-Fi. My house in Europe was the first house to have Wi-Fi. My babysitters would be his engineers. I was very much shown you can very much do whatever you want to do if you put your mind to it and you incentivize and encourage people to join you on a mission. But then also he got a bit carried away within that and started another startup that then didn't work out. He lost all his money, got a lot of loans and lost all of that. And we didn't just go through bankruptcy, we lost everything and didn't even have a home. And so I then saw the series of 10 to nearly 15 years of just suffering that my family went through off the back of that. But, we're standing strong, we're pushing through, and he still carries this unbreakable optimism and warmth throughout all of that, which I find very inspiring.
So what are the most valuable lessons you've learned about leadership and team management since starting ThisThat?
I've learned a lot of lessons. One valuable lesson of just leading is to never give up, to always keep going. I think the biggest reason why startups don't really work out is because people give up. When I found out that Instagram launched Instagram polls, I could have just given up, but instead we thought about how we could pivot. So that's number one for anyone that they should take away from this. But I like how that question had both leading a team and managing a team. They're both very different skills, and learning that for me was quite useful. The way in which I see the difference there is leading is having a clear vision that you can inspire people to get behind. And then managing is way more people-focused, having OKRs, figuring out how people's career paths can ladder up to the needs of the business, aligning those, checking in with them, coaching them. Within those, I would say I've recognized I'm much stronger at the leading and not so strong at the managing. And sort of learning that, I learned that within the way in which I operate, and everyone should figure this out for themselves, so this is now just me talking what worked for me, is to get momentum, to start something, to inspire people to join that, and hire people way better than me to then run and drive those and grow those. And so that's the second learning, is to replace yourself as fast as you can from as many functions.
Can you share a particular moment or achievement in your career that you're especially proud of?
There's not one particular moment, but there's one particular thing that I am fortunate enough to have multiple moments of. It's when I see the whole team, be it either in this office, either at the summer party that we had yesterday, be it when going to the Influence Marketing Awards and sat at the table with 10 of my team. It's building something great with great people. It's building with purpose that people are backing and behind and believe in. Get multiple moments like that I'm really proud of. I think it's taken a long time to get to this point, and somehow we've managed to get to the point where we've got these great people behind this, and it's really awesome.
What do you most enjoy about your role, and what keeps you excited about the company's mission and the future?
With all the excitement that I guess people see in sort of company flying, the last 2 years we've grown 20x. There's also a lot of challenges. When leading that, you are forced to make difficult decisions. You are forced to be very resilient, to remain strong, to be very empathetic within that. I think the person I am now is so much better than the person I was just 2 years ago. And I know that this continued momentum will, whilst have all its exciting things, require me to grow and level up continuously and continue evolving. So the thing that I'm most excited about is actually the person I'm becoming.
So in your opinion, why should brands be investing in influence marketing now?
Brands should have been investing into influence marketing already 5-10 years ago. I mean, it's an interesting thing, right? So why now? I mean, influence marketing is relevancy at scale. And that's something that's quite cool with brand lift, is you can prove the impression value of a creator and how that's more valuable than the impression value of another social ad or another TV ad or something. But it's relevancy at scale. They're not just reaching an audience, a target audience, they're reaching communities, and they're the voice of that community. There's relevancy at scale, which helps you drive a lot more efficiency across every step of your funnel.
And how do you think that the ability to measure brand uplift will enable influencer marketing to scale further over the coming years?
There's this concept called crossing the chasm, I think helps people understand my answer to this. The answer is it's going to convince the skeptics that haven't been convinced in the past. And why is that important, and why is that relevant now? Crossing the chasm is a way to understand adoption of a product or a new thing into a market. Influence marketing in 2016-17 time was just over $1 billion in value. I think it was 1.6 in 2016. Someone can please correct me on that. But we last year went over 21 billion, and by the end of the decade, we're projected to be over 130 billion. This is now the influence marketing industry, not the creator economy. That's going to be over $500 billion by the end of the decade. When you look at that and you plot that growth onto crossing the chasm, you can see that last year we crossed the chasm, which means we went from early adopters, innovators to early stage mainstream, which means that you go from people who are enthusiastic about this to more pragmatic about this. That's why, you're seeing influencer marketing going omni-channel across all these different channels. You're going for bigger budgets, and the stakes are too high to just take a bet. And so proving the value of influencers, which is that relevancy piece, which drives the full funnel, which is that the impression value is higher, proving that in a comparable way is undoubtedly going to help influence marketing get more budgets and convince these pragmatic people to invest more into influencer.
Where do you see your career heading in 5 years' time?
I think in the vein of what I was saying earlier with what excites me most is, the person becoming. The next 5 years, it's not just me, it's the team that we're growing. I'm really excited about the growth that everyone at ThisThat will be having over the next 5 years. We've really positioned ourselves quite well in the influence marketing space. But influence marketing is rapidly growing and changing the whole ecosystem of marketing. And within marketing, you've got people that have the market research function and people that have the advertising function. And advertising's evolved so much in that. Market research hasn't. ThisThat is doing something about that. We're a player that are evolving to the needs of advertising. And so I see over the next 5 years, we're going to continue to grow rapidly. And I hope that myself and my team get to grow rapidly within that too.